So, Governor Cuomo is proposing that yet another pension tier. Just a couple of years, right, after we had a pension tier. He's talking about increasing the vesting time, raising the retirement age from 62 to 65, banning early retirements, right, and excluding things like overtime when calculating final average salaries. What's the perspective of CSEA, and what's the flaw in that program?
Well, first of all, we just did Tier 5 2 years ago. It takes time to save money from a new tier. It's not immediate relief to anybody, not to the state, not to the municipalities. We did eliminate early retirement in the Tier 5. We did limit overtime to mandatory overtime for the CSEA workers because we have so much mandatory overtime. So we did do a lot of these things that will realize savings in the years down the road. Any new tier takes time. It's not immediate.
So his bottom line point, right, is that the last pension tier change is just not enough in terms of savings for localities and the state. What's your thoughts?
Well, you'd have to ask him that, but we would say it's no different than waiting the time period you need to wait for a new tier to actually take effect. And let's not forget, everybody wants to ignore the fact that after we get over next year, rates will go down because we have a 5-year smoothing. We're still smoothing out from that crash in 2009. So when we get beyond that, rates will go down.
And his plan for an option for a defined contribution, a 401k-like option for employees, what's the concern there? What's the danger, the risk?
The concern is retirement security for our future retirees. I mean, there's a big concern with civil servants who make a career out of the state, who come in making $28,000, who leave making in the high 40s, that there's not going to be enough retirement there for them to retire in dignity, with housing, with food, and be able to take care of themselves. So what happens 30 years down the road? None of us have a crystal ball. When the money's not there, and either they can't retire or they have retired, and who's going to take care of them?
And the money might not be there because you will have pulled so many people out of the system into a defined contribution?
No, the money may not be there because who knows what happens to Wall Street, right? We go with the ebbs and flows of Wall Street. Investments go up or they go down depending on the performance of Wall Street. Well, if you put money in a 401k, and perhaps you have one yourself, you saw it go down in 2009. It's slowly coming back to recover. So we don't know what that's going to look like in 30 years. We don't know what the ebb and flow is going to be, whether they're going to make enough money and a return on their investment to be able to have an affordable retirement.
And so why, you've heard the governor's rhetoric on this, why do the unions care so much about future employees?
You know what? It's not right to say the unborn, because the unborn are your children and our grandchildren. They're the future that come in to state service, that want to make a commitment to public service. So they're not unborn. They're out there. And you know what? It's going to be harder to attract good people when we're not paying the wages and the benefits, and when they don't have any security to know that they're going to have a job 2 weeks from now.
And then finally, between the battles last year, between the Cuomo administration and public employee unions over contract issues, we're seeing new battle lines this year over pension. He's got his fight with NYSET, with the teachers union, over teacher evaluations. What's your take on this, Governor? We don't seem to have those same sorts of confrontations with private sector unions. Is there a split in how he treats public versus private employee unions?
I don't know how he treats private sector unions. I know that he is obviously proposing economic development and putting a lot of our private sector workers back to work, and that's a great thing, because when they work, we all work. But I can tell you that he set his sights on the public sector workforce last year. We did a tough contract, Tom, a real tough contract. The members gave up a lot. The lowest paid members in the state of New York gave up a lot. They gave up 3 years of wages. They did 9 furlough days. They're paying more for their health care. And you know what? It was supposed to be for security and stability. It was not supposed to be, so we come into another year with more closures, more downsizing, and a pension plan that threatens the future of the defined benefit plan. Because if you push everybody into the 401k and no money comes into the defined benefit, 5 years from now, they'll be telling us why we have to shut down the defined benefit.
Thank you, Fran.